Okay. I am Amit Deman from Hydro Informatics, and today I'm presenting my research on assessing and analyzing desertification in the Chambal River Basin using remote sensing and machine learning. So first, I would like to brief about background of desertification. So as we know, desertification has become a very major environmental issue globally, and it threats to ecology, biodiversity, and economical development, sustainability, etc. And uh, there are many agencies describe and define the desertification. So I took one definition from one program by UNCCD, United Nations Convention on Combating Desertification. So they described land degradation in semi-arid, arid, and dry subhumid areas due to climate change, natural dynamics, and human activities. Then dry lands are covering 40% of the Earth's surface around the world. And according to National Remote Sensing Center, Indian Space Research Organization, 20% part of the Indian land are also facing the desertification problem. And Space Application Center, ISRO, also identified the desertification problem in Chambal River Basin, which is part of semi-arid region. And there are many approaches available and applied for the desertification estimation. Most popular approach are LADA, FAO, and Glassode approach, which is mostly used for desertification problems. Now, in this study, we are going to use some advancement like remote sensing, cloud computing using Google Earth Engine, and machine learning algorithm for classifications and differential indices and drought indexes. Now, motivations. So it can be observed that generally the surface water, groundwater, and soil moisture are decreasing due to population increment and pressure on precious resources, natural resources, and urban expansion, agriculture expansion. So, and India also facing the huge problem with population, which is really mismanaged. So, due to these aspects, there are a lot of damages facing ecological damages and natural resource damages. So it and CRB also facing the same problem. In CRB, we found very major cities like Jaipur, Indore, Udaipur. They are metropolitan cities and having huge population growth. And so I'm trying to identify by these technologies and these models and improve models to identify the desertification trend and drivers and status from 1990 to 2020. Yeah, of course, there are a lot of studies already done, but they are not talking about desertification process in the Chambal River Basin. They did they identified some badland dynamics in Chambal River and erosion process in gullies and ravines. Also, SAC ISRO also composed the atlas of desertification on India level, which is only considering few aspects like remote sensing and erosion. That's it. And using remote sensing, machine learning, and drought indicing, there no study has been done till. So this is the huge gap, current gap. So in this study, we are going to use remote sensing, machine learning to identify drivers and trend of desertifications. So basis on research gap, we formulated 4 questions. First question is, what are the status, trend, drivers, and desertification in CRB concerning climate change and anthropogenic factors? There are a lot, but we are focusing on more on climate change and anthropogenic factors from 1990 to 2020. And second question is, what are the methods and data suitable for carrying out the analysis of multi-temporal scales? And third question is how do remote sensing technology, cloud computing using Google Earth Engine and machine learning algorithm improve understanding and spatial variability of desertification, time and space? And how are the drought conditions leading to desertification issues and relation with LULC changes in different time and space? So now we have 4 objective bases on these questions. So first we are going to produce LULC maps on decadal basis from 1990 to 2020. Then we are applying machine learning algorithms in Google Earth Engine platform to find the optimal method, which method, like we are using RF, SVM, random forest, support vector machine, and classification and regression tree. So we are finding which is actually optimal method to for classification in very large area. And then we are going to analyze time series of standardized precipitation evapotranspiration index to find the climate and meteorological variability from 1990 to 2020. And then we are evaluating the drought condition and desertification problem and find the relation between land use land cover changes and standardized precipitation evapotranspiration index for different space and time. So we use many published material. So here I am discussing few which are really useful, and I followed these literatures. So for remote sensing mapping and assessing desertification, I use one publication from Jensen and Lula in 1987. For land cover change, I use Horald in 2009. He provided a good insight for LULC change detection. And for SPEI, for meteorological drought and drought indices, I followed Vicente Serrano et al. He described the methods of SPEI for drought and drought conditions. And then I'm using machine learning and cloud computing, machine learning algorithm from different authors. They described very well these things. Now I want to describe about little about case study Chambal River Basin. This is actually situated northwest part of the India, and this is actually part of Ganga Basin and situated in semi-arid region. So you can see in the south part, Indians know there is an Indore city. So from south part it is starting to flowing and going toward eastern side and submerging in Yamuna River. So this is actually 960 kilometer long river, and this is the only perennial river in Rajasthan, which is this is also flowing in Madhya Pradesh, but this is actually lifeline of the Rajasthan. So in this study, we are using two main drivers, anthropogenic drivers and climate and meteorological drivers. So anthropogenic drivers actually leading by deforestation, overgrazing, agriculture activities, population growth, and climate drivers considering changing rainfall patterns, drought conditions like meteorological drought, agriculture drought, hydrological drought, and global warming. As we know, temperature is rising regularly, and which is leading more evapotranspiration condition in a semi-arid region, and soil moisture loss due to more evapotranspiration. Now we need some data to.
1 second, Amit. Sorry for the interruption.
Yes.
Just
Sorry, I cannot hear.
Is there any disruption? Everything is going okay?
Yes, everything is.
No, from your side, but maybe from Dr. Matisharan and Sajid.
Yes, we can hear.
It's yeah, I can hear them.
Okay,
No problem.
go ahead, Amit. Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Actually, yeah, and now so we are using remote sensing data. So we are using actually Landsat series of satellite data. So which is available on 30-meter spatial resolution. So we are using only optical bands of these satellite data. So Landsat 8 and Landsat 5 data we are using in this study, and you can see in the map on left hand side. I'm showing some squares, which is actually showing how many scenes are covering the whole basin. So there is 11 scenes are covering the whole basin, and These are the other data I'm using. Here you can see secondary land use land cover product. So I'm using some decadal LULC classification across India provided by Miyappan, and LULC classification across India provided by NRSC ISRO, Copernicus LULC data from Copernicus for validate my result for collection of sample points for train my model. And here I'm describing climate and meteorological data sets like gridded rainfall data to analyze the rainfall trend, and standardized precipitation evapotranspiration index from 1990 to 2020 on 25 into 25 degree spatial resolution for drought condition analysis, and soil moisture to validate my drought conditions results from GLDAS. So now I'm going to describe research methodology. So actually I have three parts. So in following this slide, I'm going to describe in three parts this whole research. So first part actually considering anthropogenic drivers, and I'm describing about land use land cover mapping. And in a second part, which is actually identifying desertification by meteorological data and drought indices. And then I'm trying to find the relation between these two drivers, anthropogenic drivers and meteorological drivers, to find the desertification trend, status, and drivers in CRB. So this is the whole research methodology I'm following for this research. So mainly we have two parts I already described: identifying the desertification by land use, land cover mapping, and change detection. And second one is identifying desertification by climate and meteorological data and drought indices. So first we are focusing on land use, land cover mapping. So we are using Google Earth Engine, which is a cloud computing based platform. So we are which have capability to import the whole open source satellite data in one platform, and providing computation also and algorithm also inside of this platform. So we are collecting whole satellite data like Landsat 5, Landsat 7, Landsat 8 in a Google Earth Engine. Then we are processing all data like cloud masking, like subsetting, like we are making median of like I'm using 1990, 1999, 2011, and 2020, and mainly I'm focusing on January or February month, and I'm making median of these images. Then I'm going for land use, land cover change. So I need to collect some samples. So I'm collecting samples from the on-screen digitization to train my model and validate my results. So I'm using 70% data for training and 30% for validation. Then I'm applying different machine learning algorithms like random forest, support vector machine, and CART. And then we are developing confusion matrix to how much accurate my result basis on training and validation data. And then I'm going for change detection analysis from 1990 to 2020, how much change actually happened and which land is converting in from which land to which land. And then I will going through second part, identifying desertification by climate and meteorological data and drought indices. So, which is actually useful to for finding the drivers of climate and meteorological data. So we need rainfall product for 1990 to 2020. Then I'm collecting some indices like SPEI, standardized precipitation and evapotranspiration index, and another one is soil moisture index. Then I'm trying to find the relation between both two aspects, anthropogenic and climate aspect. Then trying to find the desertification trend and status in CRB from 1990 to 2020. So now I'm describing about first part. So first we need to collect, need to define the classification scheme. So we are adopting a classification scheme from National Remote Sensing Center, Indian Space Research Organization, India. So we are only taking first level of classification because area is very huge, and which is more than 3 times of Netherlands. like 150,000 square kilometer. So we having 6 class like cropland, barren land, deciduous forest, scrub forest, built up, river and water body. Then we need to follow some strategies to collect the sample point. So actually I'm using reference LULC data, secondary LULC product and Landsat product and Google Earth to collect the sample point. And I divided whole basin in a 25 into 25 kilometer grids to cover the whole area. And to make sure I'm collecting very fine point and covering the whole area, because this is very somehow some place have heterogeneous situations, some have homogeneous situations. So I need to follow some strategies which is already described by Plod and Congton. So here I am showing one example how I am collecting my sample point spatially. So this is only showing for 1990 year 1990. So these are the grids to covering the whole area. Some points you can see are spread because they are homogeneous, but some points are very close because they are not non-homogeneous and there are a lot of variations. So we need to cover the whole area to find the good LULC map. And here in the table I mentioned the total sample point, like training sample and validation sample, which is dividing in 70% and 30% respectively for each year. Yep. So these are the there are many algorithms available for classification, but here, as many authors suggested, these are the main classification algorithm which are mostly used. So I'm using random forest, classification or regression tree, and support vector machine. So RF actually applied randomly select basis and subset the features and bagging, like bootstrap the sample data and its aggregation for the decision tree. So this is the techniques from each tree's input data, and the key input parameters for this classification are the variables at each split, as you can see in the figure, split and the number of trees. So this is actually basis on number of trees and splitting the variables. And CART actually this is actually binary based tree classification algorithm, which is actually use simple decision basis of logic like if then questions, and examine the input variable, as you can see in the figure, the selected variable with maximum. I putting the NDVI and water example here. So input so variable and select the variables with the maximum information based on which nodes split at the each level. And support vector machine, which is actually finding the optimal hyperplan. You can see the hyperplan and two clusters here. So this is just separating the two the classes by decision boundary. So these are the method I'm using for classification. So after apply these algorithm, I got confusion matrix, and these are the actually showing the comparison between different algorithms. So I use like overall accuracy to show my accuracy assessment result. So you can see here different like 2020, 2011, 1990 and 1999, and random forest showing the higher accuracy as compared to CART and SVM. So these are my final map of LULCs from 1990 to 2020, and you can see in the statistics below in the graph, cropland is and built up areas regularly increasing, and deciduous forest, scrubland and barren rock area are regularly decreasing in the basin. This is the chance detection. So I combined 1990 and 2020 map to find the change in a area. So I'm describing how much area converted from which land to which land. So you can see in the graph, mostly scrubland converted to cropland, like 15,000, like 16,000 square kilometer approximately, and second one is from barren land to cropland and others. So actually scrubland most dominated vegetation type in a semi-arid region. So this is actually good indication. Sorry, not a good indication, but for the study, it is really good indication. Scrubland actually overexploitation and maybe deforestation. So it is facing major problem because of urban expansion. So I will going to show some example how urban area is expanding, acquiring the scrubland in a CRB. So this is the Jaipur, which is the biggest city in the Chambal River Basin, and it is expanding like 10 times from 1990 to 2020. You can see the statistics. Red color showing the city area, and you can compare with the satellite image how it is actually expanding from 1990 to 2020, and how I mentioned here, and how pressure is increasing on groundwater resources in the Jaipur city. And this is another example of forest degradation in near Gandhi Sagar Dam, which is the very largest dam in the basin on Chambal River Basin. So on left hand side, you can see this is the area, red mark actually showing that this study, this window, and red circle showing this color, brown color. You can see the deciduous forest converting into scrubland actually. So in 1990, you can see there is actually deciduous forest, but in in 2020 it has totally converted in scrubland, and you can compare with the satellite data too in the right hand side. So this is actually showing the tone, how red color showing the vegetation here, so which is actually decreasing by year. And this is another example for Indore, from Indore city, how agricultural land acquire in the urban area. And here in brown circle, you can see how barren land and scrubland changed in the urban area. And these are some ground photographs. My friend collect for me these photographs. So these photographs showing how actually on ground level degradation is happening. Here you can see in the first photograph, this is from Udaipur, and actually land cover is changing. This was actually wetland, perennial wetland. Now it is changing seasonal wetland, and you can see here how land is degrading by erosion and seat erosion. And on right hand side, you can see this picture. Actually, this picture showing the one example like diamond trail, which is actually developed by cattle's regular grazing and browsing the grasses. So it may cause the desertification in the mountainous areas. So you can find these kind of diamond trails in whole basin. So these are the problem actually because Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh have huge population of cattle, and they are actually dependent on open land and scrubland to graze and their feed. So this is the major problem in this area. So I'm showing one example how this area located in the map. So this area actually was totally scrubland. Now it is totally converted in barren land. And there are more examples of land degradation you can see from the whole study area. Yeah, now I'm comparing my result with the secondary data source from Copernicus, from NRSC, from India LULC product from 1985 to 2005. So trend looks like similar, but because of some limitations of secondary data like chorus resolution, like misclassification, I have to produce my own LULC covers. I can show some examples from secondary products. They have some errors, like you can see in the left hand side. This is primary product which is produced by me. In a red circle you can see, and compare with the satellite image, there is no agricultural land, and in my data you can see this is totally scrubland, but in a Copernicus data you can see huge agricultural land. There is while there is no agricultural land. So this is misclassification. And one another like example from at right hand side, in my data you can see there is a barren land, and satellite data also showing there is a barren land and open land, but in a India LULC product, they're showing like built up area, which is not possible within a period. So these are actually misclassification I found. Now I'm going to describe part 2 for metrological drivers. Yeah, so now I'm going to introduce little about standardized precipitation evapotranspiration index. So actually SPI was developed to estimate the drought conditions around the world, and it is actually developed based on monthly water balance.
Amit, you have about 5 minutes.
Okay,
yeah.
So yeah, so actually SPI calculated by precipitation minus potential evapotranspiration, and it can describe meteorological drought. If we are using 3 months of accumulation period, it means this is meteorological drought. If we are using 6 months of accumulation period, it means this is agriculture drought. And if we are using 9 to 12 months of time series, then it is showing the hydrological drought. Here is a table which is describing which SPI values and positive or negative values showing the extreme wet, severely wet, moderate wet, nearly normal, moderate dry, and severely dry, and extremely dry. So these are the graphs I developed from 1990 to 2020. So here you can see meteorological drought. So I'm going little quick. You can compare with some news I downloaded from Down to Earth. In India also face the same drought periods. You can see in the 3 month of accumulation period. So in 2002, and you can compare with 2002, 2004, and 2009, 2014. So these are the actually time series graphs for whole accumulation period: 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and 12 months, to showing the meteorological, agriculture, and hydrological drought condition. So now I'm showing spatial temporal meteorological drought trend from 1990 to 2020. So you can easily find the trend in 1919, in 3 months of accumulation period. We have normal condition, and somehow we have some wet condition. But in 2020, entire basin converted. 2018, entire basin actually converted in dry condition. Even we found extremely dry, which this area actually close to Thar desert and impacted by Thar environment, and also this basin also facing the huge drought problem. And these are the another accumulation period like 6 months, which is also showing the drought conditions and trend toward drought conditions. And this is for 12 month of 12 month of drought condition, which is showing hydrological drought in the area. And now I'm trying to validate my result by these rainfall and soil moisture. So rainfall and soil moisture also following the same trend. If you see the graph, there is some dips, and so there is also rainfall also going down in this drought condition time. And now I'm trying to find the relation between land use land cover change and SPI. So this is the final map. So I'm showing some land use land cover change on district level. So there are 32 districts in this basin, and map also showing the drought condition in the area. So major change you can see is scrub land to agriculture land. So which is actually leads to agriculture drought. You can compare with this graph in 2018, which is showing extreme dry condition so it may cause the agriculture drought in the area. And due to of course, I put this, some population from JRC. So population is increasing day by day. So that's how we need more agricultural land to produce more crop. Now I'm going to conclude. So you can see, as we discussed, and you can see the huge expansion in built up area and cropland and water bodies, and significant decrement in deciduous forest, scrubland, and barren land. So which is actually leading the desertification problem in the area. And as we compared the whole result from different algorithms like SVM, CART, and RF. So RF is mostly already used classifier, and in this study also we found this is actually providing higher accuracy. And SPI, as we saw in the drought index, whole basin actually was close to near normal in 1990, but it now converted in 2020 totally in extremely dry condition except 2-3 districts. And we also found some relation with El Nino La Nina oscillations, because this area actually close to monsoon pattern, and which is affected by totally an El Nino La Nina event. So which is actually giving the more insight to this study. I found some limitations, like it's very difficult to quantify the desertification rates on a field level, because this is actually very large area, so still we have limitations. And we have very coarse spatial resolution of SPI, like 25 into 25 kilometer, so we cannot go in a field level study. And I found some misclassification also in my study, like because of a spectral response overlapping, like surface feature overlapping, and some cloud-free images also not available, and some spectral error, radiometric error leads to misclassification. And there is insufficient agriculture, ecological, climate, and socio-economic data are essential, which are actually essential for desertification study. And in this study, many aspects ignored, such as biological, ecological, and few climate elements also ignored. And of course, I didn't go the field because of COVID-19, which is actually required to validate my result more and more effective. And future recommendation, we need some multidisciplinary approach. We need to include spatial, temporal, cultural, ecological, and environmental context. And in this study, we found we found some deforestation, but there is some forest available and increasing, but these are actually not part of this basin. They are actually alien species. I am showing some picture. This is actually juliflora, which is spread entire India, not even in a basin. So this is actually creating the desertification problem in the basin, because this is actually May month and it's showing green. So in a semi-arid areas don't have that kind of vegetation, because they are adopting to summer climate. So these are the alien species we need to identify. So we need to collect some ground reflectance value to separate these alien species to exclude this from forest area. And of course, we need some more indices to validate and accurate our result, like SPI, NDVI, PDSI, rainfall anomalies, like yield anomalies, and vegetation condition index, which are more actually understandable, more natural characteristics of the basin. And CRB actually located in semi-arid region depends on many other surrounding climate factors like El Nino, La Nina, like Arab monsoon and Bengal monsoon. We have to consider their characteristics too. And we need some holistic approach. So Indian government has to take action against the desertification in CRB to implement the policies and take the measures and train the farmers to protect their field in a critical situation like drought. And rangeland, open land, and permanent pasture can be managed by growing small scrubs and grasses. These are references I used mostly. And I want to acknowledge my supervisor, my family, Dr. Corzo, GE team, and LCSC team for SPI data, IHE, Dr. Sunil Dubey, who provide the field data, full photograph, and also my classmate Chitesh, Mohammad Jawad, Hudson, and one of my friends Sadhana, and some of Indian colleagues. They provide some data, and they provide many things from the ground level, Amit Sharma and Sanjay Saraswat and Rakesh Negi. And thank you very much. Now time for questions.
Well done, Amit.
Thank
Very
you
good.
much.
It took a couple of extra minutes, but it's fine.